Good morning, everybody. This is Judith A. Culp. You're listening to Mad Love. Let's get into it. Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody listening to this podcast. I firmly believe this podcast should be as popular as Joe Rogan. But I'm not Joe, and I don't have his rabid fan base. But no knock against him. I've enjoyed Joe Rogan since news radio. I thought he was funny on that. I don't know if I think his stand-up is that funny, but he was hilarious on Fear Factor. But I also know that the larger platforms do not talk about this topic. I have no idea why people don't want to talk about what I talk about. Caregiving is super important, and it's the number one thing facing our economy, and I'm not sure why people are in the dark about it. And I guess that's by design, because why should you make a plan? Why should you be prepared for something that's probably going to financially cripple your family? Because people love their siblings. People love their loved ones, and it might be a sibling. It might be a partner or a parent. Right now, it's probably mostly going to be parents and the elders in your family that raised you. And no one wants to see them out on the street. And it was nice when they were just cruising on their own in their own homes for years and years. But we're getting to the point where people are starting to get old, and they won't be able to stay alone. And you'll have to figure it out. Some of them will have children that will figure out for them. Some of them, your favorite aunt might not have any kids. You dig? But when you talk to her, something's not quite right. I would definitely suggest looking into dietary changes and creatine and anything that could help restore any kind of cognitive decline, because diet would be the first place to start, because we do need an economy where people can function on their own. They may not need to live alone, but they need to function on their own, because people have to leave the home to afford all the things we need, right? And so if someone has got to stop working to take care of someone else, that's a lot. It's a big expense, and it takes a lot of time. And a lot of times the patient feels guilty that they are requiring this amount of care. My mom was always concerned. When she tuned in, she would just be like, "You shouldn't have to be doing this." And I'm like, "Yeah, but somebody has to do it, and I don't mind doing it. And it's just utterly disrespectful to let you lay here in your own waste. I would never allow that to happen, you know." And I think that's why the hospice team was always like, "We love coming to this house," because I wouldn't, if we saw me and my caregiver, if we saw poop on the sheets, dirty, change the sheets. We spared no energy expense to make sure my mom was comfortable, which was a huge feat, because she was never all that comfortable, even when she wasn't sick. But that's how I felt about my mom. It didn't have anything to do with anything other than I respected her, and to me, cleanliness is part of the care, and I value that. And that's going to happen to a lot of families. And just this first 5 minutes of this conversation, this first 4 minutes, is why my podcast is not super popular, because people don't want to think about that. And I get it. I didn't want to do it either. But that's part of being a grown-up. You do unpleasant things for the people that you love and who love you. There's no podcast without my mom. So figure it out for your family and share this podcast with people, because I can't tell you how many people now, this year has been the busiest year of somebody just got diagnosed. Will you talk to them? That's happened to me multiple times this year. Oh, I just found out somebody's got to take care of their mom. Will you talk to them? See, it's I'm not psychic. I can just read. I can see the numbers, and I know what I've been dealing with. So moving forward, To another topic. Today, it occurs to me that there is value in forgiveness. It's so important to forgive. And I think people don't understand how to do it. I've had somebody ask me, say, well, if I forgive them, I'm supposed to just forget how they did. No, no, no. No one's saying you have to forget. That's not even the point. But if you don't forgive a person, you're basically taking a knife and stabbing yourself with it. Most of the time, the people you have all this fury about either A, don't know that you're that mad about it, whatever it is, or B, you know, they don't care. They either don't know and don't care, or they don't care at all, period. People move on all the time. And you staying mad and frustrated and really holding those emotions in your body, it's only harming you. I had to go try to return my work badge. I was unsuccessful on Friday because there was no place to park. But I got into the parking garage, not because my ID worked, but they let me in. I get in there and my chest tightened up, not in a like heart attack way, but I could feel the muscles in my, like the tension that represents that office for me. I have absolutely no desire to go back in there. My chest tightened up and I was like, shit, I can't even get out of the parking garage anyway. So I got out of there. I mean, you have to badge yourself into the elevator and badge yourself all over to get to my office. And I was like, oh, I won't even be able to get out of the parking garage. So I left and my chest opened back up. My body remembers the trauma. Working there had become super stressful and terrible for a number of reasons. I was being micromanaged by people who didn't really know what I did, but pretended to appreciate it, but didn't because they didn't want to pay me fairly. They doubled my workload, tripled my workload. It was just a disaster there, even at the end. And that was after enduring somebody who really couldn't stand me, but my mom was still alive and I hadn't been there long when they got there. And I was like, look, you're not going to run me out of a job. I need this job and I'm going to work it. And I did. And so, I forgive all of them. I forgive them for being terrible at leadership because everybody wants the title and everybody wants the money. But, everybody does not know how to lead or manage. And I truthfully only had one boss there who hired me and wanted me. And I was inherited by everybody else and they didn't want me. And that's okay. They didn't know what to do with me. And, they kind of all, I think, secretly hoped I would just quit. Eventually I did. But I forgive them. That doesn't mean I forget that they were trash at management and leading me, and wasted a lot of my time and energy. But I did what I had to do for me and my family, and it had nothing to do with any of them. So I forgive them. And there were some violations of trust. I don't particularly dig when people renege on me. When people promise me something and then pretend they didn't do it, when you throw a rock and hide your hand, I don't respect that. But I forgive them because God is in control. And I've decided to enter the era of surrender. And this has been a long time coming because my mom was very, very sick. And when I look back now, I can see she was probably really sick for the last 3 years of her life. But the last year of her life, especially because of hospice, it just got more and more pronounced. And she was clearly at the end. And it was very challenging and very difficult. And there were plenty of nights I said I felt forsaken. But there were also nights where I had to surrender because I just didn't know what else to do. And it sounds so spiritually naive to be like, I'm out of ideas, God, I choose you. Like, that's ridiculous. You choose God first. And you cannot say that you love God when you walk around with a bunch of grudges and being pissed off at everybody. And you can't tell me that you feel good when you're angry and frustrated with people. There are a lot of people who are out here simply doing the best they can. They are. And they are imperfect. And they may love you to pieces. That doesn't mean you have to take their abuse, but it means you put up a boundary there and, let them be them and figure out how to let them be them in your life. I've tried to help. I have a sibling who's very ill. I tried to help him. Me and my sister, we tried really hard to help him. And he was like, no, thanks. And I was like, okay, well, good luck. And you'll see on a text chain, that's the last thing I said to him. He did call me a few weeks ago, like nothing was wrong. And I was like, you owe me an apology, But I didn't sit around staying mad at him. He is who he is. He has been this person my whole life. There's somebody in your life right now. There's probably several people in your life right now that broke your heart, disappointed you, frustrated you, did something to violate your trust in some way. I mean, everybody has somebody like that. But you have to learn how to forgive people. That's not saying you got to forget what they did. You just have to find forgiveness in your heart. That's what God does. God knows what happened to you. God can see it. But you only hurt yourself when you walk around staying mad at people and holding these grudges, these deep, hard grudges. You're going to make yourself sick or sicker because there's an energy that's attached to that emotion. And it's like a little poison. And the deeper your degree of anger towards that person, the more resentment you have towards that person, the more those chemicals get released. And to a certain degree, you're addicted to being mad at that person because that's the chemical that you keep going to. So that chemical is in your brain now, and you get a dopamine hit off of being mad and angry. And I was like that in high school. I remember I was a very angry high schooler. I don't particularly like people telling me what to do. I'm fine with a conversation and a collaboration, but I never did like people telling me what to do or say or how to be. I'll figure it out. And there's a way that works for me that you may not understand. So that's fine. So you can imagine my childhood was quite interesting. But I had two Aquarius parents. My mom is actually on the cusp, and they were pretty hands off. They sort of were like, okay. And there were times when I needed more guardrails and more conversations and warm, fuzzy conversations, and I didn't get them. I needed more, after school moments. But I made it out okay. And the bottom line is you have to forgive people. You have to forgive people for being just who they are. That doesn't mean you forget. That doesn't mean that you don't have boundaries. But you cannot hold on to this negative energy. It produces a chemical in your brain that you're probably addicted to. And it's a waste of good, positive energy. So instead of using that energy to do something good, it's draining you. It's draining you. You're not Arya Stark. You don't have to have a kill list. Life is too short for that. It's too precious. For every time you start to think something negative and be mad at somebody, just stop. Just stop it. Think about something else. Think about how good it feels, to feel the sun on your face. Think about how good it feels to be still and know that God loves you. And I heard a prayer that I've been using, and it really changed my perspective. Anytime I get panicky, anytime I get anxious, anytime I get worried, I say a modified version of the Ho'oponopono prayer. It's a Hawaiian prayer, and originally it's I love you, I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you. That's the original. That's it. But the modified version that I heard that I say all the time is, I love you, God. I'm sorry I don't always recognize your love and divine orchestration over every moment of my life. Please forgive me. Thank you. So when you put the modified version in there, that part where you say, I'm sorry I don't always recognize your love and divine orchestration, that means God knows what happened to you. God sees that you're stressed out. God knows these people didn't pay you right. God knows this person broke your heart. He knows, but it's part of his plan. And that prayer to me is the ultimate in surrender. And I've been saying it pretty steadily since I heard it, which would probably be 2 months ago. Whenever I feel anxiety, whenever I feel angry, whenever I feel whatever emotion, I know that it's part of God's plan for my life. So say you want more money. Who doesn't? Everybody wants more money. Say you want more money. As soon as you say that, I love you, God. I'm sorry I don't always recognize your love and divine orchestration over every single moment of my life, including this one where I'm worried about money. Please forgive me. Thank you. That sends a signal to your body, to God, to your spirit team, to the universe, whatever you believe in, whoever you believe this infinite intelligence is. It lets them know that you're not in control. It lets them know that you need to surrender. And your ego is the only thing that's keeping you locked in. Because now everybody knows that this is God's plan for you. And it resets your body. And you start to see synchronicities pop up all day, every day. Like all of a sudden, because you've centered yourself and given it up to God, given it over, handed however you want to phrase it. And you can see the difference in your energy, in your temperament. You start to feel better. Your health will start to improve. Everything, because it's God's plan. He sees where you are right now. Come on. He knows what's going on. So why would you feel like he wouldn't deliver what you really need? But you have to allow him to. And these are things I've been working on for years, honey, because this caregiving thing kicked my ass. I'm not going to lie. People ask me why I'm so passionate about it, or you writing free newsletters, you writing books, you go. And I'm like, yeah, because this thing happened to me. And it cracked me wide open. My heart is now like huge, not in the unhealthy way. But I really want to help people understand what's ahead of them, because I'm not a genius. I'm not a psychic. I don't do predictive anything for anyone other than myself. But when I tell you this is coming for millions of families, there's already 55 million unpaid caregivers. The number vacillates between 53 to 55 for obvious reasons. And the psychology of having to do this for someone and wondering where you're going to get the resources. It's difficult. Long-term care is pricey. And I'm not telling anybody anything I haven't been working on intently for the last 4 years, because working full time, not getting enough sleep, between 21 and 23, my mom was, between 2021 and 2023, my mom was more manageable, but still bad. And there was a stretch she just didn't sleep. For 7 months, we were just up, fighting in the night over Cheez-Its. And, by 2024, things settled down, as you know, because she went into hospice, but she was still, it was a lot. I don't know if they settled down. I just got a little bit more help. And by the time she died, I was thrown into an existential crisis. Like, what the hell? Because a very challenging relationship was over and it was never going to come back. So all of this is a lot to unpack. And I'm sharing all this because I feel like right now there are a lot of people walking around with a lot of resentments and a lot of frustrations and a lot of anger, and it's holding them back. And I don't want to come off like I haven't been through things. I have. I would never tell you something that I haven't been through and just expect you to just do it. It's just not who I am. So I've had to do it. I've had to forgive. I've had to let go of resentments. I've had to try to understand things that were ununderstandable. No one will get it. And you turn it over. You release it. You allow God to come into your life and help you deal with these tough situations. That's who I choose and who I believe helps me and comforts me. And I hope that whoever needed to hear this message will receive it in their heart today, because it's important. It's important. You're harming your health by staying mad and angry. You really are. I don't know who you are. I don't know who needs to hear this, like I said, but everybody who walks around angry and bitter, you just hurt yourself. And probably the people you're mad at don't even know you're mad, or they don't care. Either way, you're holding your happiness hostage. Stop doing that. God loves you, and I do too. Please take care of yourselves. Like I said, that was just on my heart. I had to put it out there. I don't know who needs to hear it and how you guys will receive it, but I'm rooting for you. I'm pulling for you. Yeah? Take care of yourselves. Have a happy Monday.